What's up, watch friends? Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. And it's Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. And yeah, another week. We did it. Yeah. Hope everyone had a good week and hope everyone has a good weekend. And today we're going to do, and anyone who's a new subscriber or doesn't know what we do on Friday, Friday is a Q&A. I've been doing it for a while now. And if you want a question answered, all you got to do is leave your question in the comments below, and it'll be featured on an upcoming video. Pretty simple. This week I got a ton of questions, so I'm going to do it in two parts again. So we'll do today and then tomorrow. So if your question that you asked me during the week is not here today, it'll be there tomorrow. All right. So apologize, man, but when I get too many questions or a lot of questions, which I appreciate, my videos run too long. And for one, it's been taking like freaking 3.5 to 4 hours to upload videos when it used to only take 15-20 minutes. I don't know why. It's just the way it's been happening, man. So today I'm wearing my Cartier Pasha 41mm blue dial. This watch is sick. Alligator strap. Have it on the bracelet too, but I never put it on the bracelet on this one. I just prefer it on the strap. So anyway, let's run the intro and we'll get started.
Talking timepieces with Tony. Talking timepieces with Tony.
All right, cool. First question comes from David Parrish Productions 50. What's up, David? Always good to hear from you, man. Hope everything's well in Chicagoland and the weather's not been too brutal or whatever. But anyway, your question is, Tony, you rock, man. So do you. Thank you so much. Important cat question. Can you tell us the story of your history with your cars? Why you named the Paco and Uku and the difference in their personalities. The watch community is dying to know. So cats or cars? When you say Paco and Uku, then we know it's cats, right? Well, yeah, I mean, Uku, I could do a whole video on this, yeah? Uku is my little torty kitty. She's right here. I'm just petting her now, but she's just chilling. Paco is the black tuxedo, a black and white cat you see often. He's just a shyster. But Uku I adopted January 31st, 2015. One of my other cats, I had a cat previously who mysteriously went missing. It's a long story. It broke my heart as to what happened. I was in the hospital. It came out, long story, and my cat was gone, and due to somebody's negligence, actually. So I didn't want to get another cat, and then finally I decided to get Uku. I adopted her. I walked into the pet store and it was adoption day, and there was another cat in the cage with her, a calico cat, and Uku just looked really sad. So I went to go pet the calico cat, and Uku reached over and licked my hand, and I went, "Oh my God, you're the one!" And that's it. And she's super kind. She's super loving. She's very emotional. She's very in tune with me, and she's sensitive, and she's like a person. She knows how to read me. She knows if something's wrong. Paco, on the other hand, he's another one I adopted, but I didn't adopt it. I was, what do you call it? My neighbor, she was the niece of the president of the record company I signed with, and she was looking after some cats. You know, for some reason I can't think of it's not an adoption. It's a anyway. One of you guys will think of it. And anyway, she decided that I needed another cat. She literally comes walking up to my front door and she's like, "You need another kitten," and she drops him in here, and I'm like, no, you get the cat out of here, man. I got Uku and she's great. Then Uku went over and whatever, and then I was like, well, maybe he can stay for the night, and that was it. And then I took him. He's several years younger than Uku. He's more of a kitten, even though he's like 3 years old. And he's a troublemaker, but he's a loving cat. He's completely different than Uku. If I go away, like when I went to Nashville, Uku was just upset, crying. I heard my neighbor who was looking after her, and just would need her treats. And and Paco's just all like, "Okay, dude, as long as I got food, I'm cool. Daddy will be home whenever." You know what I mean? So that's I could go forever, man. But thanks for your question. I appreciate it. This is for Joel Bolt 88. Question: if the Coke re-released on Jubilee, would you choose that over your Batgirl? No, no. No, I wouldn't. I'm not, again, with this whole thing about hype stuff, you know what I mean? Oh, if the Coke came out, it's a hype watch, everyone would want it. No, I got offered a Pepsi before I got offered a Batgirl, and the weird sense was I got offered the Batgirl without knowing I was going to get the Batgirl, but previously Juan had asked me if I wanted the Pepsi, and I was like, you know what I mean? Well, I still love the watch, and especially after having the Batgirl, I can really appreciate the Pepsi even more now that I have the Batgirl. And even when I was in Nashville recording with Lincoln, I was wearing his Pepsi, and you know, I really like it. But the Batgirl, I don't care. You know, no, I wouldn't. So simple answer is no. I'm sure if they come out with it again, it'll look cool and everything, but it's not going to make me want to, you know, drop everything and go, oh my God, I have to have it because I can't get it. You know what I mean? Juan, help me. I need it, please. Talk to somebody. Thanks for your questions. Strider GMT. Hey, Tony, when does a guitar player reach their peak? Would you say Eric Clapton was better at 30 or when he was at 60? What's your experience? I love Clapton and Hendrix. Tommy Emmanuel is a famous Aussie player. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I know who Tommy Emmanuel is. I don't know, and I think it just depends, man. You know, do I think Clapton was better when he was 30 or when he was 60? I was never a huge Clapton fan, sorry to say. So don't, you know, shoot me in the comments or whatever. But you know, I mean, I think he's a good player. I think he's, you know, he does his thing. He's a blues guy. I think he became a better songwriter later in life than he did earlier on, you know, and I say later in life, not in the last few years. I'm talking, you know, in his later career. But I don't know, and I think overall, it really depends on your health, you know what I mean? Like back in my 20s, I was shredding, man. When you name it, I'll play it, you know what I mean? And I had dexterity up the you-know-what, man, but because I have carpal tunnel, tendonitis, bad shoulders, and things like I can hardly play anymore. So, you know, but then you got guys that are up there you look at Nuno Betancourt, you know, I'm going with the rock guys for a second, you know, he's like my age and he still rips, man. He's just got so much dexterity and he's still able to just pull everything off, you know what I mean? And so I think though, as you get older, you get more mature about your playing. So you choose everything a little bit more wisely than you did when you were young about like playing every note you could. You know, back in those days we say, I get played by the note, not by it for the song. You know what I mean? So anyway, it just depends, man. Tommy Emmanuel's cool too. Hendrix, obviously, you know. So thanks for your question, dude. Hey, this is from Amir Al. Amir? I didn't get your whole name here, man. But hey, Tony, what do you think of Elonga? How do you compare them to the whole Trinity? How do you feel about their prices compared to the other high-end watches, of course? Great content, by the way. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Longines are great, man. I mean, I would compare them, or I wouldn't compare them. I'd say they're comparable to Patek Philippe. So they're definitely up there. But then again, I'd say Breguet's up there too. So, or I could say Breguet I would put up ahead of Patek, actually. And comparing them to the Trinity, so if you took out the factor that the Holy Trinity is all Swiss, and you wanted to say throw in a German brand, yeah, sure, I would put in Lange. If you were to say, hey, we got to replace one with a German brand, what would it be? I would kick out AP in a second. I'd put Lange in a second. If I was going for a German Trinity, I'd put Lange first. I'd put Glashütte second, and I would put Nomos third. So yeah, you know, I mean, and their prices, yeah, I mean, they have high prices, but look what you're getting. You know what I mean? So thanks for your question, man. This is Gary Doherty, 600. Really enjoyed the guitar question. I'm a drummer. What makes a good drummer in your opinion, and who are your favorites? Music stuff coming right back to haunt me, huh? Well, first of all, a good drummer, it depends also what type of music, because like guitar players, I like certain players for different types of music, you know what I mean? I'd never put a guy like Yngwie Malmsteen in Guns N' Roses. It just didn't work. It didn't work when Ron Thal, Bumblefoot, was playing for Guns N' Roses. Shreddy stuff over Sweet Child of Mine and stuff, it just doesn't work, right? So it has to fit the band. So I would say in a rock sense, John Bonham was the ultimate drummer to me. I mean, you know, I'm not a drummer, although I've worked with a lot of really great drummers, just in the pocket and laid back, you know what I mean? If you're going for, okay, I know a lot of people like Neil Peart, but I wasn't a huge Neil Peart fan. I just thought he overplayed over everything. You know, don't shoot me if that's your hero, man. I'm not, you know, but I never was really into Rush. I wasn't Neil Peart fan. I think for rock, again, I would say, like, in the sense, I think Tommy Lee's a real solid just rock drummer, you know what I mean? If I'm gonna go outside the spectrum and say, hey man, if I was into jazz fusion or like sort of Frank Zappi weird shit, you know, then there's guys like oh my god, he was in Missing Persons. He was married to the singer. I want to say Terry something. I can't believe I can't remember. You know, this happens to me. I just get put on the spot and all of a sudden I can't remember it. I mean, I can't freaking remember something I just thought of 10 seconds ago, you know what I mean? Terry Bozzio, sorry. You get someone like Terry Bozzio, you know what I mean, on the other end, you know what I mean? But like if I was playing sort of, again, with Terry Bozzio, wouldn't work to me in a real rock sense. He works in the way that he works, you know what I mean? So it just depends. They first and foremost have to really keep good time too, right? I had a drummer who was super technical, overplayed, man, and I have some demos of him, and I was like, dude, you have to fucking tone it back, man. It was like a drum fest. It's like, am I playing on your solo record, dude, or are you playing on my record? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you know what I mean? I can enjoy drummers for different reasons, just like I do with guitar players, man. So, thanks. Thanks for your question, man. Sonic Death Monkey. Wait, hold up. Let's go back to the cool cars. Was that a Caterham you were standing next to? What else did you have? What are you driving these days? You're talking about, I don't know, one of the last videos I did, not the last one, the one before, I think. It was that one about Mario Lopez. Yeah, it was a Caterham. It was insured. I had it insured as a 1957, I believe it was, but it was, you know, it was a Caterham. So it's a Lotus 6 essentially is what the car is, and then they read. It's kind of like I'm not really good at remembering shit right now. I don't know why, but it's, yes, it was a Caterham. It was a pretty badass car. I never drove it. It sat in my garage, and I ended up selling it. And the thing is that although it was a very cool car, it's just really dangerous to drive in LA because it was so low to the ground. It was fun, but I'm also not into drawing attention to myself, and that's exactly what that car did every time I took it out. So I would take it around the block a few times and whatever, just to keep it running and stuff like that. But you know, and then, okay, so other cars I've had so many cars, man. I've had Porsche 914 6, I've had 911, Corvette, Audi. My Audi was beautiful. I loved my Audi A4. I had a 1973 Chevy Camaro. That was a badass car. That I was driving over Laurel Canyon one day, and the whole rear left wheel came off the car. Car slammed down on the ground, and that wasn't a fun situation. But you know, I've had and then I've had, you know, just basic cars, you know what I mean? Like I've had 7 Nissan Zs. I used to be a huge Nissan fanatic. I had two 240Zs, 1973 and a 1972, not all at the same time. I have had I've had a 280Z. I had a 280ZX. I've had 4 300ZXs, 2 of which were at the same time. Those were really nice cars, man. I love those cars. So I've had a lot of cars, man. So thanks, dude. And what do I drive now? I drive a Honda because I don't care about being whatever. I drive a Honda Civic at that. So there you have it, man. Thanks for your question. Sebi Hunt 3068. I love the Zenith Pilot, but leaning more toward the black ceramic case. What made you choose steel versus ceramic? Thanks. Keep up the good work. I just prefer steel, man. You know what I mean? I prefer that watch in steel and not black ceramic. You know, there's certain things that are good in ceramic and just certain things that are good in steel. And I'm not a huge ceramic fan. I do have that Zodiac that has white ceramic. I think that's really cool. But I just prefer steel watches. Thanks for your question, man. This is from at HBMEX1928. I know who you are, buddy. What do you think of the vintage, neo-vintage Rolex, specifically the Rolex GMT Master 2? Any resources you can suggest? I'm currently researching for a neo-vintage Rolex GMT Master Master 2 16710 Coke for my 60th birthday. Congratulations on trying to hook that up, dude. Be really careful with those, man. You have to be so freaking careful. Unless you don't care if it's had a dial swap or the hand swapped or the bezel swapped. Because you know what these dudes do is they get these watches. Just look at Grand Caliber. You know, I mean, Marco, he was that partner with the Timepiece Gentleman guy. Like they'll get, he's like this vintage watch expert with Rolex and stuff like that, and he'll get a watch and he'll go, I don't like the dial, I think I'll just switch it out. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing. He's like saying this shit like it means nothing to just change a dial or a bezel or the hands, and that just totally ruins it because it's not the way the watch was born, the way the watch came. I get it if you send it into service and Rolex have to change certain things, but when you're taking some, you know, gray market flipper and he's like, oh, I'm just going to put this dial in it and do this to it and do this to it, it's just like, okay, you know. So you have to be really careful with the vintage, man. And do I have a, I don't know. I mean, look at Bob's watches, I guess, you know, look at some of the anywhere you look, Chrono 24, any dealer you contact, make sure you ask them, is it the original dial? Is it the original bezel? Is it the original hands? Is it the original bracelet? Is it everything? You know what I mean? And you have to be really specific in the questions you ask. You can detect when someone's kind of lying or bullshitting, I hope, because I can. When you put them on the spot and you ask them these questions and they're not expecting it, oh, okay, yeah, I think so. Or no, is it or is it not? Because don't waste my time, you know what I'm saying? Those watches don't have any card that proves, like with the, say, for instance, the OPs or the newer Rolexes have that white hang tag that tells you what dial, it has a dial code, it tells you. Like, so for instance, if you were buying, an OP and you wanted that turquoise dial, the Tiffany blue, and it comes with that hang tag's what determines whether or not that Tiffany blue is the real dial for that watch, you know what I mean? Because some people were swapping those out too. You just have to be really careful, man. So I wish you the best of luck in your search. All right, thank you, man. The next one, Dylan Clickenbeard, 3216. Hey Tony, I'm seriously considering the Zenith Defy Skyline like the one you have. What are your thoughts regarding the ceramic model? I'm torn between the stainless and the ceramic. Thanks, Dylan. That goes back to the previous question, the previous question. I think the ceramic is nice. Especially the Defy Skyline, I definitely prefer it over the Pilot watch for sure in ceramic. So yeah, I like it. I again prefer the steel, but for that watch, yeah, it's nice, dude. So good luck, best of luck with that. All right, so we've got Maury6010. Question for next Q&A. Hi, Tony. All the way from South Africa. Dude, you're in South Africa and you're watching my channel? That's so cool. I know I got viewers in Australia and England and all that, but I really appreciate that, man. Just wanted to ask firstly about your back. How's everything going with the pain and stuff? Getting more manageable? Back is still like, I still need to have back surgery, but I'm trying to do everything I can to avoid it. I've been doing these kind of stretches for a few months and trying to strengthen my back, so it's been more stable, doesn't feel as fragile. So, but I'm going to get another epidural probably this month. I've just got to call my doctor and schedule it. And hopefully it won't go out. I mean, I haven't had painkillers in a while, and if it goes out, I don't have any, you know what I mean? So it's like, hopefully just everything will keep working with that. So I appreciate you know, asking that. But what are my thoughts on Hublot? Okay, what are your thoughts on Hublot? Nico has given them a tough time, and curious what you thought. Cheers, thanks for the content. I'm not particularly fond of Hublot, but I don't really hate them either, you know what I mean? I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon, and you know what I mean? What the problem with Hublot was, and Nico's right, is that, you know, they're putting a $500 movement in a $20,000 watch, or you know, the same ETA movement that was going in a $3,000 watch, and there's no reason for that. You know, it's just the same exact movement, and you're just jacking up the price because you can. I mean, they've gotten a lot better. Their watches, aesthetically wise, look really cool, and they do have their own movements. They also have complications. They also have tourbillons. I think they're also trying to be like AP. So they're fine, but they have also no history, real history to them. So I think they're a Miami Beach type watch, a flex watch, you know, young tank top and drive your Ferrari and flex your Hublot, man, but it's not a watch that I would want. So, but I appreciate your question, man. Thank you. Have a good one. This comes from Hugh Pottle. Hugh Pottle. Sounds like a British name, you know. Hugh Pottle 2207. I love Gary Moore. How do you rate him? Gary Moore, dude, spelled with 2 O's, not one. I have a 1994 LV Sub Big 4 and a 90s GMT black and red. Would love a Patek Philippe. Which would you recommend? I'm over 60, but not 70. Right on, man. Calatrava, Patek Philippe Calatrava, man. You can't go wrong with one of those, man. Just especially if you're getting older. You know, I'm getting older too, but I love the Calatrava. It's classy, it's simple, and it's that watch you can just hang on to for the rest of your life. Like if you go back to the last question, you had a Hublot on your wrist that, you know, this massive pink Hublot or something. It's not gonna look good when you're old, right? Calatrava, man, do it. The 5119G, 6119G, or the 5119R, you know what I mean? And they're 36 millimeters, awesome. I think the 6119 is maybe 40 millimeters, 39. But let's see, both Rolex I bought at retail ages ago. That's awesome. First concert was Dr. Feelgood, 1979, Manchester Apollo. So you are British, hello. But that was a great baptism into great music. Freddie from Cheshire, UK. There you go. First, and then also Gary Moore, man. Gary Moore's awesome. I saw him in 1984 at Monsters of Rock, Castle Donington in England. And that concert had, it started off with Motley Crue. I think it was Accept, Y&T, Gary Moore, Ozzy Osbourne, and Van Halen, and then AC/DC. So it was a pretty massive lineup. I love Gary Moore. Corridors of Power was a great record. Victims of the Future was a great record. Well, he also did a song in the 80s with Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. Also, for those of you who don't know, Gary Moore was also in Thin Lizzy before he did Gary Moore, but then he also went off and did his blues thing. His first blues record, I think, was called Still Got the Blues for You. So he was a phenomenal guitar player and a terrible loss. He was great. Awesome. I love Gary Moore. Thanks for your question, dude. This last question comes from IX. Is it LX? It might be IXOXO Aya. I'm sorry, I never get your name right. I know you've been, there you go. Great video, thanks. I have a 2007 36mm two-tone date just, I'm sorry, 36mm two-tone date just with a hidden clasp. Yeah, those are nice, the hidden clasp. I had a 2018 with a hidden clasp. And I've been lucky to not experience the stretch. I have a question. Does the stretch happen to oyster bracelets? I also have a 2022 31mm blue Roman numeral date just with an oyster bracelet, and it shouldn't happen since it's a new bracelet. But I'm interested in buying an old 26mm oyster perpetual with an oyster bracelet, and I'm wondering if the stretch is a possibility. Thanks for your question. Yes, it is. You know, when you're getting into those older watches, they still use pins, you know what I mean? Although the oyster bracelet's a 3-piece bracelet, but the stretch can still happen for sure. So all you got to do is keep them, you know, not as bad as the Jubilee. Jubilees, man, I've seen Jubilees where the one part of it's standing up and the other half of it's completely folded over. I mean, it's like that, you know what I mean? Oyster will flex as well, but you know, just keep them clean. Just make sure that when you check the watch, make sure. And if you're buying it online or from you know, an authorized retailer, whatever you're doing, authorized retailer, but a pre-owned store, just ask them, is there any stretch in it? Whatever, you know, make sure that it's exactly what you want. And if they say, well, there's some stretch, have them do a little video and send it to you and see if you'll work with that. You know what I mean? So, all right, you guys. On that note, we will see you tomorrow on the next Q&A. I appreciate it. Have a good day.